Hey, we are back for another review of Sisters on BET. We're on season 2, episode 19, entitled Truth Hurts. This is the episode before the final. So last week's going to be our final episode of the season, and I can already see what the cliffhanger is going to be, but we'll get to that. Anyway, we're at Andy's, and we're in the wake of Karen having yet another meltdown, and her popping up at Andy's, and in the midst, Andy is telling Fatima to not let Karen get between her and Zach, which is sound advice because that is all that, not Karen directly or indirectly. That's all that's been happening thus far. So she's giving her girl some advice, and so Karen tells Andy like, oh, she was there to apologize for her behavior, even though she doesn't think that Andy deserves an apology. Which bullcrap. If you didn't think she deserved an apology, why were you there? Why would you give her something that you didn't think that she deserved? You're a liar. You're now in your feelings because you see that Fatima is there and she's giving Fatima advice, and now you hurt and you feel betrayed and whatever it is that you got going on. Anyway, which in my opinion, Andy is owed an apology because you did too much too soon, as you always do, but whatever. And they both think that they have a right to be upset, which in my opinion, Andy has more reason to be upset than Karen, but everybody within their own right. Andy goes on to tell them, like, listen, I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of being caught between the two of y'all. Both of y'all are my friend. I could be friends with you and I could be friends with you without getting intermingled into y'all's crap. I've never betrayed either of you. And essentially, if Karen tells me something, I don't tell Fatima. And if Fatima tells me something, I don't tell Karen. I can mutually exist as either of you guys friends without you two actually being friends because I am an adult. I can do that. Which, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. And she lets him know, like, hey, I'm not going to let Zach get between me being friends with both of you guys, which is the point of contention amongst all of them at this point. So now I got to talk about this picture, and Karen tells her, she didn't leak the picture, she had nothing to do with it. It was just the kiss on the cheek. And Fatima asked a good question. Okay, cool, just a kiss on the cheek. Why are you kissing on cheeks? And Karen, first of all, she was trying to hold the information hostage, like, oh, if you don't change your attitude, I'm not going to tell you why. Like, girl, you be asking to get beat up sometimes, and sometimes I don't be mad about it. Anyway, Karen claims that it was only to thank him for the child support and the offer, and she don't have to worry about her really because she's fully committed to Aaron at this point. And like I said in the earlier review, I feel as if she's using Aaron as basically like a runner-up situation, like a second best. But whatever, I'm sure time will tell. She doesn't know or care about who sent the picture, and so they all agree that Zach is wrong in his actions, and Fatima will relay that message when she gets home, because she is now going to not leave, even though coming all the way to Andy's house. She's going to leave and let those two talk, and she's going to go home and talk to Zach, about whatever she learned from Karen just a second ago. All right. Now, Karen wants Andy to hurry up and get over her actions. Mind you, it ain't been that long. It's barely been a few hours. And she's offered an apology, and she expects Andy to just, come back and kiss and make up and just be over it. So they somewhat make up in that moment. Whoop-de-damn-do. All right. At the restaurant, steam pot, wherever they were at, Gary calls Hayden yet again because for some reason, after he talked to Robin, he had a thorn in his side and he couldn't let this thing go. So he's been sitting there having his dinner while simultaneously looking up how Robin was able to get his money. And he looked in the account and saw that the money was there and that it was wired. And he knows somebody that works at the wire transfer station. And he finds out that the money is from Harry Wells Lanton. And Harry Wells Lanton is the known gangster / divorcee that Andy represented in a case. And Hayden is the one that makes the connection that, hey, Andy represented him in his divorce, so that's probably how Robin got the connection. She put the two together. And so, Gary is kind of his bag about that. Hayden knows Harry's brother, and so he wants to see if he can get Harry to rescind the loan to Robin. Which at this point, if the money's been transferred into Robin's account and now into the business account, it ain't too much recession that's going to happen because the funds have cleared. The check is cleared. So I don't know what y'all trying to do, but it's giving, scrambling for a resolution at this point instead of just letting the shit go and leaving well enough alone. They're just going to fight tooth and nail to the end. Anyway, he's concerned about the fact that, Robin may be paying a bunch of interest on this money, blah, blah, blah. All of which is inconsequential because he did his part. The money's in the account. All he has to do is get to the meeting and go from there. Gary's somewhat in denial about Andy's involvement, but I don't really know why you giving her so much benefit of the doubt when you was squeezing bitches to death. Just about, you had no shadow of a doubt about that, but now you want to act as if you want to figure out what it is that's going on and snoop around a little more. I don't know. Anyway, Gary calls Andy. He wants to come over tonight. So yeah, he's gonna be back over there. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that thought. Zach is sitting on the couch that he had just not that long ago refused to even get on because this my house, right? So he's on the couch, and he apologizes. He apologized for his attitude. He was upset. But to Fatima, again, she's going to reiterate her point. That outburst basically confirmed her suspicion that, hey, we're moving too fast. You've made it abundantly clear that this ain't my house. I just stay here. And so, with me being hyper independent, that really pissed me off. And we're not going to keep talking to me like that. Like, it's not about to happen. And, he understands. Again, he profusely apologizes. And what he's upset about is the fact that Karen has the power to have them at odds. And Fatima tells him, like, hey, Karen don't have us nothing because Karen don't have the power. She don't have that much power over me or you to have us anything. This is where we're choosing to be. And we, basically we can work through this or whatever it is. She ain't mad at Karen. She gonna stay the night, but she still needs to process everything that happened that night. Like, this ain't even the next day yet. And so, guess y'all tell me what Zach agreed to do at the end of the scene. Exactly, sleep on the same damn couch that he refused to sleep on 2 hours ago. Yeah, y'all did all of that, wasting my good time, my good energy, and my good air for you to still sleep your ass on the couch. It was entirely too much for me. Moving right along. Next morning comes and she's getting further into her pregnancy. So much so that Erin has prepared this wonderful breakfast spread and she cannot eat it. She's nauseous. She appreciates the effort, but she ain't keeping it down. Again, she apologizes for Zach. Again, she's profusely apologizing to Erin about everything. He's like, listen, the swelling's going down in my hand. I'm good. I got it. I'm a grown man. You don't have to keep apologizing for him. And then she tells him about the apology that she went to Andy's to give her last night. And then tells Erin, like, hey, if you go into the basketball court tonight, you need to watch your back. And Erin's like, watch my back for what? He's giving that kind of energy, like, watch my back for Zach? Girl, I was giving him a run for his money, basically. And I gotta agree. Erin was giving Zach a little 1-2 on the 1-2. No shade, no tea. He was giving him a run for money. He really wouldn't let him dog walk him, to say he's a child of the Lord. He was definitely not sparing the rod on Zach's ass. So sure. Anyway, Erin ain't even worried about it. He ain't give it a second thought. But Karen is profusely apologetic. Now, this is the most apologetic I have seen Karen in the entire 5 seasons of this thing, and I'll take it. But do you really apologize because you really feel as if he's been done wrong at the hands of Zach, or are you really apologizing because he's your your next best option, because you know that he's consistent and he's going to stay around, and he's been good to you as far as serving you and doing what you need to do? I'm just asking the question. That's questions that need answers. All right. Mr. Bayou calls Sabrina And he hopes that she's not upset about him saying no to lending the money to him last night. And he wants to come over to ask just a few more questions. And we're assuming, that the questions are about Maurice before he makes his final determination as to whether he's going to lend her the money. So now she got to get rid of Calvin. And she tells him, like, listen. And so Calvin is getting hands back a little bit about having to rush out because Bayou's coming over. Sabrina's up front and lets him know, like, hey, Bayou's on the way. He want to talk. He want to ask him some more questions. You have to go. And then she also reminds her, like, we not together. We not together. So don't have too much attitude about it. And Calvin realizes he's just standing there just kind of absorbing everything. And he's realizing, like, Sabrina probably actually likes Bayou, and it ain't much he can do. Like, they've agreed to go their separate ways. And even though there's an impending trial and all these other things, that sentiment has not changed. And she reminds him of that by saying, not too much on the jealousy because we're not together. He asks her what she got to do to get this help from Maurice, basically insinuating like she has to sleep with Bayou in order to get this help, which has not been the case. Bayou has been a gentleman, and he's not pressuring her into anything that she has not genuinely wanted to do on her own. So that would have been annoying to me for you to insinuate I got to lay down and get this help, but mind your business. Anyway, Calvin does go on to admit that he's a little bit jealous of Bayou, which is probably from the aspect of Bayou having the funds and the liquid cash available, to help Maurice out, because what we're not going to do is slight Calvin. Calvin has been showing up this season. He's almost killed Q. He done whooped the hell out of Q. He's been going to bat for Maurice. He's been willing to put up his $25K for Sabrina. He's been there, ever since Sabrina got out of jail. I think he's been there daily to keep her company, to give her the sense of security that she desires at this moment. So Calvin has showed up and showed out. However, when you do that much for somebody, sometimes you be expecting some payback or some retribution or some reconciliation, and this should remind you, like, we're not together, so not too much. And so, that's where Calvin is at in the franchise. Fortunately or unfortunately. Fortunately for me, because that means I don't have to deal with the Sabrina and the Calvin drama. Unfortunately for Calvin, because he don't get the girl. At least not right now, anyway. All right. But after he admits that he's a little bit jealous of Bayou, he gives her his blessing to go after Bayou, and I don't know if she receives it or she's just listening at this point. But what I found interesting, well, not interesting, but what I wanted to say is, all of that was for naught. All of that, if you feeling Bayou, go ahead and pursue it. We're good. I didn't need your blessing, because baby, I am facing a federal charge and federal time. Mind you, I'm out on bail. We still got to go to trial. Evidence has to be, put together. All that has to happen prior to now. So baby girl's not out of the woods. So one thing about it, the last thing that would be on my mind would be hooking up with anybody, because I got too much on my mind and I got too much to think about if I were Sabrina. So the blessing was unneeded, because sis got enough going on, and being with anybody at this point ain't at the top of her list of things to do. All right. Bayou gets to Sabrina's apartment, and he wants to talk about Maurice a little bit more. Wants to ask, you know what? It just dawned on me, like, the show is coming in. He asked, like, 1 or 2 more questions, but it really wasn't a whole lot of questions. Sir, you wasted my time last night, and you wasted your time today, because if you knew you was just going to give me the damn money, I could have had him out last night. But whatever, we're going to go with, the flow of the show. And he tells her, like, hey, $1.5 million is a lot of money, but you trust Maurice, and you're sure that he won't run. So these are the questions. You trust Maurice? Yes. Are you sure that he won't run? Yes. So he's going to give them $1.5 million. Well, lend. It's more of a loan. Well, if they get off, it's a loan. If they don't, it's a wash. So he'll give her the $1.5 million just off the strength of Sabrina being who she is. And at this moment, she really can't even hold back tears another second. She is so grateful, and, she's appreciative and all these things to Bayou for him even doing this. Like I said, off the strength of just, like she said, she was like, all you did was take my word for it. And that is the strength of having a good name and, being a woman or man or whoever you are, being a person of your word. Sometimes that is more invaluable than actual money. And this is a very good example of that. Sorry about the life lesson, but I'm gonna give it to you. Everybody was good folks. Everybody had a little something to put on it, you know. Calvin had 25K, Sabrina had 18, Danny might have had about $20. Well, Andy didn't have nothing to put on it, but because she had already put her million or so up on Sabrina. All of that was money. But Sabrina's name was able to get her the full balance off one date. Like, they've only ever been on one date. Let's just chalk it up and say they might have talked on the phone a couple times, but they're still fresh in this thing, and he is willing to offer that up for her. Now, said all that to say, I'm not sure he's known Sabrina long enough to know that her word is good. But hell, it's good enough. It's good enough thus far, and we're gonna work with it. Because I'm thinking about it like, okay, they've only been on one date, right? Maybe two. One date. Let's go with two. Because I think they went out dancing, and then he took her home that one night, and then they went to his restaurant where him and Calvin got into a physical altercation, and then after that, Sabrina disappears for, let's just assume it's a week while she was in jail. So it ain't been enough time to me to foster a clear picture of what her word is, but it seems to be good enough for him. But the more in life is your word is means more than cash in some instances. That's all I wanted to say about it. All right. So she's calling Andy on the phone to get things set up, and Andy's asking a whole lot of questions, and she talking in cold because, girl, I'm gonna talk to you later about all that. But let's get Marius out of jail. Andy and Gary, he has stayed the night. And so they're getting ready the next morning to head out to their prospective locations. And he gives her a heads up that he's going to be at her office today. And Andy ain't got no kind of poker face. Like, she over here with the big loud gulp that be in cartoons. Like, you coming to my job today? I'm trying to act like she don't know why he coming, and he know that she know that they know that we know why he coming. And so he tells her, like, girl, cut it out. I know about you hooking Robin up, with the loan shark. And I don't think it's really going to work out in Robin's favor. And we have a meeting today. You know that, I know that. So I'll see you at the office later at the meeting. And so she asked him, like, why is this such a thorn in your side? Like, why is this so important for you to get Robin pushed out of the company? And he says that he doesn't want Robin anywhere near her. And that is literally the long and the short of it. And that goes back to something that Hayden said earlier. Like, you putting a lot of judgment on me trying to get Zach away from Fatima because I wanted her for myself and she didn't want me, so nobody else can have her. When in fact you are doing the same exact thing with more money, more capital, more people, more white folk, right? So you're playing the same game, just on a grander scale. Honestly, like, you're going to push this man out of his multi-million-dollar company because you don't want him nowhere near Andy. So, same game, different stripes, whatever it is. And she tells him, like, listen, I worked very hard to get here where I'm at. I'm very close to becoming partner. I'm very close to becoming partner in this law firm. So the games that you and Robin are playing is pushing me further away from my goal. And so now he want to feel played a little bit and be in his little bag about it, but we'll let it play out. And so that is the premise, soon to be the premise for her helping Robin out. Or hell, maybe she just didn't want to see him, done dirty at the hands of Gary because he didn't deserve it. Which, okay, cool. If you're trying to make partner, also Andy, if you're trying to make partner, why in the hell was you sleeping with Robin? That was never going to work out anyway, but we're going to let Mr. Perry explain that to us, in the next episode or the next season, I'm sure. All right, Calvin calls Maurice with the news that Sabrina may have found someone willing to lend the money, right? And I say called because not you called nobody in jail. You didn't call nobody in jail. Not on that wall phone, you didn't. Maybe I blinked. Maybe he didn't call him. Maybe Maurice called him. I don't know. But that's what I thought I saw. Anyway, Maurice gets excited to hear back from him. He's telling them, like, hang on, we don't have no solid evidence. Because at this point, Calvin is also speaking prematurely. Because Sabrina, yes, at this point, Sabrina has confirmed that Bayou is going to give them the money, but Calvin doesn't know that yet. He just knows that she has a meeting with Bayou to potentially ask him more questions about Maurice before he decides to lend the money. premature altogether. And so he tells him, like, hold on, don't call her. Call me back in about an hour, and you just hold tight. And so he gets excited, to hear back from him later. And he's bragging about his new cellmate. And Calvin warned him about them cute faces, because you know that what happened last time, which just made be Maurice shooting the shit, because he had already shut the new bunkmate, cellmate, whatever you call him, down, because he knows that he was asking intrusive questions, which is probably on behalf of the prosecutor. All right, Zach and Fatima. Oh God, I get so frustrated. I get almost as frustrated talking about Zach and Fatima than I do talking about Zach and Karen. Irritating. Or talking about Calvin and Sabrina. Just as irritating. It's like y'all can cut the storyline altogether with them folks. Anyway, Zach and Fatima, they're still talking about the same crap. I was upset, blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a damn. All right. Somehow Fatima knows that Heather is going to be calling Zach today. She gets a call, and whoever she talks to gives her some information, and she tells Zach, like, hey, Heather going to be calling you today to work something out. And he's like, well, how do you know? Like, how do you know that? Which we're going to assume it's Miss Decoy. Miss Decoy, who's got Hayden wrapped around her fingers in 2.5 days, 3 hours and 16 minutes, has him wrapped around her hand, and so she's going to tell him that he needs to drop Heather today because she's jealous, blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. And so now that Hayden is head over heels, that's what's going to happen today. And so Heather, her case is going to be out the window because she does not have a lawyer to see her through. And she may or may not find another lawyer, possibly. But we're just going to, lean on the side of Hayden is going to drop her, and then her only other option is to actually reach out to Zach to come to a happy medium so that she can continue living her best life, and he can as well. All right. This is another storyline that's chapping my hide, right? Danny wakes up in the bed with Q. That's enough to piss me off, right? Anyway, Danny wakes up in the bed with Q. They done knocked boots all night long, child, and she done built a doggone barricade of pillars between the two. She's trying to rush him out, and he's looking like, girl, you no need to be modest now. Like, we done did all this. What you trying to do? And then she tells him, like, won't your ankle monitor tell the cops where you are? And he claims that he told them that I'd be out and that I'd be over here. And so they're going back and forth about him getting out, him wanting to take a shower. Hurry up, take a shower so you can get out. I need to get ready for work. He's like, work at the same. Yes, a bunch of fucking back and forth that nobody cares about. And another tip to help that could have helped you out. If this is an ankle monitor, like you don't get to call your PO or the people that own the monitor to say, hey, I'm gonna be out. No, you have to be at your home of record by 8 or 9, whatever time it is. Don't ask me. I ain't never been on it. All I know is I know. You need to be at that place. There's no alternate arrangements. There's no plan B place that you can be. Ain't no calling, making no reservations. You are where them people tell you to be before the time limit. And so, Danny, you got little street smarts. You should have known that too, but we're just going to go along with it. Anyway, they're going back and forth, and then he goes to take a shower. Preston calls her, asking can he stop by. Preston has been leaving town for 6 weeks. Sir, head back to Tennessee or Chattahoochee, wherever it is that you're from. Just go ahead and go, because you keep saying you leaving. You keep selling wolf tickets, and nobody's buying them. And she tells him, like, listen, I don't want to talk about it today. I'm about to go to work. And then she already knows he's going to say something about seeing her tonight. And she says, okay, good. We'll talk later on tonight. Go on about your business. Bye. Don't come up here. Don't come by here. Don't come by here. I'll call you. Don't call me. I'll call you. What movie is that from? What movie is that from? Drop it in the comments. All right. Anyway, so she tells him to stop begging. And at this point, it's giving begging. It's giving begging. And like I said, he keeps selling these wolf tickets. I'm gonna marry Heather. I'm finna go home. You don't love me. I'm finna go home. I'm about to go. Bye. Hey, I'm outside. Hey, can I come? It's giving the same thing over and over and over. All right. Sabrina uses her key to run into Danny's apartment. This her homegirl. That ain't far-fetched. So she runs in excited about the news that Bio is going to give her the money to get Maurice out of jail. And then she hears somebody in the bathroom taking a shower. You know, and I know that we know that it is Q, right? And so she's sniffing around. She's like, it's a man in here. So somebody figured out, somebody stayed here. Who is it and what you got going on? And then Q comes walking out the bathroom. That Q. Yep, the Q that had your best friend and her best friend in jail on some trumped up ass charges that's tied to this ankle monitor that has had your red flags on high alert, but you have not paid attention to him this entire time. Even Q's mouth is on the floor when he sees Sabrina and Danny standing there together. And Chad, I was outdone. At this point, you, Mr. Perry, have outdid yourself, because what I can know for sure, ain't no way in hell Atlanta that small. It's not, I think they live in Atlanta. Let's go to Atlanta. Ain't no way that city that small for them people to be tied together like that. Anyway, so I'm sure we're gonna figure it out in the next episode, and then Q now has to break his little debonair persona. Now, what he better not do is get to acting crazy in that apartment with them two women, because Danny's going to have a little bit of PTSD that's going to snap, and he's probably going to end up with his neck snapped. So let's just hope he handles that with a little bit of grace and goes on about his business. And sucks for Danny, because she now done slept with him and she worked with him. She done tied herself too much to a damn absolute stranger that's done the absolute worst to the people she loves the most, unfortunately. Anyway, I also see in the preview for next week that Fatima's baby daddy stops by Zach's house to find her. And I'm sure there's some sort of, okay, let me guess. Let me think. Because baby daddy, she don't have no tangible baby. So let's go with miscarriage. Let's go with abortion. Can I say on YouTube? Let's go with abortion. Let's go with one of those options, which, I guess, are you still a baby daddy if the baby no longer exists? I'm not being insensitive. I am asking a legitimate question. Let me know what y'all think. Are you still considered a baby daddy if the baby no longer exists? I'm not talking about a baby that doesn't live 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm not talking about a tangible baby. Like a baby you never, like, say you lost a baby at 3 weeks. Are you still considered a baby daddy? That's my question. Again, not being insensitive. It's a question. I don't know, what people would consider themselves in that situation. Maybe that's why he's calling himself a baby daddy. Now, what I do know is Zach is probably gonna hold this over her head, because hell, Fatima, you've been holding Karen over his head for quite some time. So let's get even, I guess. Anyway, that has been season 2, episode 19. Let me know what y'all think about the episode. What are your predictions for the season finale next week? Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.